And also, speaking of drag queens, can we stop with the grooming stuff? Can you stop talking about that? Drag queens are not at a school to groom your kids. Stop it. And even if they were, most of them kids gonna get shot at school. It ain't no problem. Don't grown pass legislation.
That was what was passing for comedy at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night. The grooming kids for sex, usually man on boy sex, and not getting shot. Not a funny guy. He's comedian in name only. Kino. Wow. That was good stuff. That was good, funny. He knows his audience. Amazing stuff. Kind of sad, really. Sad and tragic. We have posted photos from Saturday night in the White House Correspondents' Dinner of myself with the President of the United States, Joe Biden, up on stage shaking his hand and shaking the hand of Kamala Harris. She loves my show. She thinks I'm hilarious. She told me everything I say is true. And then I said, no, my name is Chris Plant. I'm not with NPR. And he said, oh, sorry, I was confused. As usual, I said. But we posted a couple of photos, and there's a caption contest. We've got a caption contest going on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. People are adding captions to the photos of me with Joe Biden and me with Kamala Harris. You can go and enjoy the captions that have been added, and you can add your own caption if you wish. We got a lot of stuff. Now, there was a massacre in Texas over the weekend by an illegal alien who was an alien illegally in the country as an alien, who sneaked in across. He didn't really have to sneak in. He sashayed in. He sauntered in across Joe Biden's open border with Mexico because the Democrat Party, they're the open border people. They're not on our side. Here's the headline from the Fox News Channel. Texas fugitive accused of killing 5 was illegally in U.S., deported 5 times. But we have an open border, so he goes down there, he kills people there, then he comes back here and he kills people there. Sure, no problem. It's Francisco Oropesa. Francisco Oropesa has re-entered the country illegally multiple times following deportations, according to Immigration and Customs Enforcement sources, because nobody can speak on the record because Biden's not on our side. A suspect is on the run after allegedly killing 5 neighbors execution style Friday night when they complained about him firing his rifle on his property. Turns out he's been deported from the country at least 5 times, a source from Immigration Customs Enforcement told Fox News Digital. The FBI said Sunday afternoon authorities have no leads in the search for Francisco Oropesa, 38 years old, a Mexican national who's accused of the quintuple murder in Cleveland, Texas, outside of Houston. The Texas Governor's Office, state agencies, and the FBI are offering a combined $80,000 reward for tips leading to his capture. Now, here's the thing. He's probably already in Mexico. Again, it's Monday now. It's May Day. Democrats are celebrating the rise of socialism. And keep in mind that Vladimir Lenin said, it's a great Lenin quote, "The goal of socialism is communism." And the Democrat Party, Bernie Sanders, Bolshevik-loving, Soviet Union honeymooning, Bernie Sanders, they got a lot of, self-identifying communists around them, too, and people quoting Chairman Mao all over the place. But I digress. So the FBI Houston special agent in charge, James Smith, said on Sunday, "We do not know where he is. That's why we've come up with this reward." See, that's a good. First, of course, the FBI, the federal government, they put out the wrong name. Well, they misspelled the name. And they put out a photograph that was of some other guy. Wrong guy, because, the Biden administration is just funneling the people into the country from the southern border. Keep in mind that the number of illegals coming into the country under the the Biden administration is about 3 times the number of illegals coming into the country under President Trump, at least 3 times. 1.7 million people came into the country illegally in 2021. 2.3 million came into the country illegally in 2022. I'm sure the number will be bigger again this year. And they have tripled the number of illegals coming into the country illegally compared to the Trump years. And this is their plan, all right? 85,000 children, illegal alien children, have come into the country, and the Biden administration has lost track of them. Don't know where they are. 85,000 children. What are they being used for? We found a whole lot of them being used as slave labor, working in plants and factories and butcher shops and crazy. Now, they don't care. They pretend they care about children and about immigrants and about everything. So and here's the thing: the guy's been deported 5 times at least that we know of under this name. They put out the wrong photo. They misspelled the name. The guy is long gone. The Mexican border is right there. He can just go back to Mexico. And they said, well, we'll track his cell phone. First thing he did after the massacre of 5 people, including an 8-year-old child, was throw his cell phone into the bushes because he knew he could be tracked by his cell phone. So he dumped the cell phone. All right? No problem. FBI Houston put out updated pictures. Here are the newest images of Francisco Oropesa, and a prominent tattoo on his left arm, naturally. Going forward, the suspect's last name will be spelled Oropesa to better reflect his identity, because they misspelled it the first time, in law enforcement systems. This remains a fluid investigation. This is all Joe Biden's fault. This is all the Democrats' fault, this massacre. And again, they're illegal aliens, and Governor Abbott said so. So naturally, he's being attacked for adding that detail because the Democrats don't want to hear about this. There's a massacre of 5 illegal aliens perpetrated by an illegal alien in Texas, Houston, general vicinity of the border, more than New York City and Chicago. And they don't want to hear it. They say, it was an AR-15 style rifle. It'll turn out either to be or not to be an AR-15 style rifle. They don't know the difference. And that's it. They don't want to talk about this, right? Now, here's a headline from the lefties. Governor Greg Abbott prompts swift rebukes after calling Texas mass shooting victims, quote, illegal immigrants, end quote, in a statement offering condolences to their loved ones. Now, you're not allowed to tell the truth if the left doesn't want you to tell the truth, like the 12-year-old with the T-shirt that says there are only 2 genders. You can't say that because the left doesn't believe in free speech. The left doesn't believe in the truth. The left doesn't believe in journalism that tells you the whole story. And, remember, there's the most insidious power the media has is the power to ignore. To ignore. Just amazing stuff. So he's being attacked for mentioning that the family that was massacred were illegal aliens, including an 8-year-old boy. They asked the neighbor, the illegal alien, to stop shooting the rifle in the air, and instead he came over and started by shooting mom, then went through the house and methodically killed 4 more people, including the 8-year-old boy. Then he threw his cell phone in the bushes and he headed out. And this is Democrat land. They're turning the whole country into Mad Max beyond Thunderdome. And if you mention it, then you're the villain. See how that works? Greg Abbott, swift rebukes after mentioning that the family of 5 massacred were in the country illegally. Illegal immigrants. The technical term is illegal aliens in U.S. government documents. And then there's that Sting song. I'm an alien. I'm an illegal alien. I'm an international in New York. Here is Chunk Todd with Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who is just awful and terrible and should be impeached. yesterday on his Chunk Todd show on NBC Fake News.
There's been a horrific execution-style shooting down in Texas. Authorities are now certain there's a manhunt right now for somebody who's armed and dangerous.
Sounds very emotional.
I know you've been monitoring this. DHS is monitoring this. What can you tell us about the alleged suspect, Francisco Oropeza?
Watching CNN.
Chuck, it's a horrific crime, and I can assure you and the American people that law enforcement will deliver accountability.
No, you won't.
The case is an active one, under investigation, so I really can't comment further.
He's gone. The guy's gone. So just a total BS non-answer. And Chunk, that terrible Governor Abbott pointed out that the murderer is an illegal alien and so are the victims.
There's some question about his citizenship.
No, there isn't.
I guess they referred to it as a consulate card from Mexico, meaning he was here legally, but perhaps he had overstayed?
So, Chuck, I won't comment on it because it is an active case.
Can't possibly.
The tragedy that occurred is, you described it correctly, just absolutely horrific.
It's
Our
terrible.
Hearts go to the victims, the victims' families, those children, and we'll deliver accountability.
Do we know what federal authorities are involved in this right now, besides FBI and the local authorities?
These are the big questions.
Is your team involved, Border Patrol at all?
So we are monitoring the situation very carefully, but the FBI is the lead federal investigative agency, and of course working with the locals there.
He overstayed. He had a consulate card, and then he overstayed. Well, that's called being here illegally. And he's been deported 5 times. Chunk left that out, and Mayorkas left that out at least 5 times. All right? Now, a wonderful woman on the television this morning on the Fox News Channel, Mayra Flores, is the wife of a Border Patrol agent, and she's had just about enough of this stuff.
Secretary Mayorkas claims that we need legislative fix, which we do, but the main problem here right now in Bronzeville is that he's not willing to enforce the laws that we already have in the books. We have laws. Why is he not enforcing them? He needs to be held accountable, also the Biden administration, because what's happening here in South Texas is truly inhumane.
It's truly inhumane. In fact, it's happening not just in South Texas, but now outgoing Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Lori Lightfoot pleads with Governor Abbott to stop sending migrants to Chicago. She calls it dangerous and inhumane. Well, that's the Biden administration's national policy on all of this. Texas began sending buses of migrants to Chicago and other sanctuary cities in August. Hey, but wait a minute, Lori. I thought you're a sanctuary city, kitty cat. Didn't you open the doors and roll out the red carpet? 85,000 missing children. No accountability. Mayra Flores.
This administration has already lost track of 85,000 children. 85,000 children that are potentially being sold to child sex trafficking and that are being exploited in our country. And that is just unacceptable. I'm a Border Patrol wife, and our Border Patrol agents can't speak, but we can. And I encourage all Border Patrol wives to go out there and speak for them, because our Border Patrol agents are exhausted.
Joe Scarborough pretends to be a journalist on MSDNC, another NBC station. They employ the Reverend Al Charlatan as a journalist and pay him 7 figures. Joe Scarborough this morning, very upset that the governor of Texas would mention, as a governor of a border state, that they're all illegal aliens involved in this horrific massacre.
And yet the governor of Texas decides that what he's going to do in statements and tweets is underline the fact that they're illegal immigrants, not human beings, not victims.
Illegal aliens are human beings.
Not yet the latest in a long line of tragic victims, but instead underlines every chance he gets that they were illegal immigrants. The callousness, the inhumanity of it all really is breathtaking.
Oh, the humanity, the callousness. Now, telling the story, these are details of the story that journalists should be sharing with the public, but are not, because the most insidious power the media has is the power to ignore, and they would leave that out. And he said they're not human beings. Now, no human being is illegal, and haven't they been bumper stickerizing that for years now? Not human beings. No, they're human beings who are breaking the laws of the United States, America, and are in the country illegally, and now you got a mass murder by a mass murderer who's going to flee back across the border and get away, and there'll be no accountability. And you guys will stop paying attention to it. But they attack the Republican governor in a wheelchair of Texas for daring to provide details that the news media would obviously leave out, that these fake, fraudulent, corrupt pseudo-journalists would obviously leave out. And how dare you say they're not human beings? He didn't say they're not human beings. You said they're not human beings. You should be canceled, I think, don't you think? You know, I like to tell the truth, and I like to offer solutions. Well, if you have high blood pressure, or maybe you know somebody who does, I want to tell you about some friends of mine at 120 Life. 120 Life, they're a Chicago-based company. They have developed a juice drink to help you lower your blood pressure naturally. 120 Life is a natural juice drink made from pomegranates, tart cherries, cranberries, hibiscus, beetroot, magnesium, all good for your blood pressure and delicious. Helps lower your blood pressure naturally without side effects. I'm drinking it and I love it. I'm still waiting for another shipment right now, and you will too. It helps keep me energized and it helps keep my blood pressure in check at the same time. The truth is, there are easy, natural ways to help keep your blood pressure in check, and one of them is 120 Life. So check it out and tell them Chris Plant sent you. Visit 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Order their 2-week trial pack of the juice drink. There's a money-back guarantee. And when you use the code CHRIS, you're going to save 15%. The natural approach to blood pressure management. Visit 120life.com today and start seeing benefits in just 2 weeks. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Yeah. So Joe, wait a minute. The governor shouldn't mention that of a border state, and you wouldn't mention it. So your goal is to keep the public as ignorant, as unaware as possible regarding the great issues of our day, even after a family, including an 8-year-old boy, murdered by an illegal alien on the run now. And what he takes offense with is that the governor pointed out a couple of details that they plan to leave out. Hey, Chris here with some exciting news. Now you can listen to me live on the WMAL app. Doesn't matter if you're in your car, in the office, on the go. The WMAL app delivers crystal clear around-the-clock news coverage anywhere with cell service or Wi-Fi. So don't miss a second of your favorite shows. Download the WMAL app today on the Apple App Store or at Google Play Store.
They're illegal immigrants, not human beings, not victims, not yet the latest in a long line of tragic victims.
See, they don't want to highlight, focus, or even mention the illegal alien crime issue, a massacre by an illegal alien of illegal aliens. Now, there's a claim that one of the victims was a legal resident of the United States, one of the 5 massacred, allegedly, according to some reports, a permanent resident of the United States. And that's great in a room filled with other illegal aliens, a house full of the... Now, it's like not wanting to mention the transgender killers being transgender, and there have been a bunch of them lately. Massacres by transgender individuals, non-binary Democrats, massacring people wholesale. And the media, they love to leave that out. By the way, where's the manifesto? Where's the manifesto of the Nashville Christian School transgender murderer? Now, with the open borders of the Biden administration, borders that had been largely secured under President Trump because he's on Team America and Joe Biden is not. I was reminded of Barack Obama's promise or a threat. See, the Democrats saw it as a promise. Pro-American people saw it as a threat aimed at the United States of America. Barack Obama bragging that he's going to wreck the place the moment he becomes president.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
And the Democrats all go wild like they had just won the Super Bowl or something. We're going to wreck this place. That's the goal of the left. And he was their prophet of doom. You may also remember the open borders crowd. This has been part of the Democrat Party and the left, part of their plan for many years to overwhelm the United States by opening our borders to the world so that a tsunami of humanity will overwhelm our systems, the schools, the healthcare system, our economy. This has been their plan all along.
Instead of worrying about whether immigrants can learn English, they'll learn English. You need to make sure your child can speak Spanish.
I have a next-door neighbor in my building, and the apartment next to me has lived in the United States for more than 30 years, and she speaks less English than I speak Greek. That is literally true. Because in Washington, if you're a Spanish speaker, you can make it through your life without barely coming into contact with where you have to interact with English speakers or English speakers only. And Joe Biden, he's on Team Wreck America too.
And I truly think that if we do this right, we have an incredible opportunity to not just dig out of this crisis, but to fundamentally transform the country.
Fundamentally transform the country. That's right. We're going to fundamentally transform the country because that's our Democrat Party. They are not on our side. You weren't elected to fundamentally transform the country, were you? Well, their voters, apparently. It's a pretty crazy bunch of people, I got to say. Man, oh man, oh man. All right. Let me get to a couple of other, because there are a lot of other things. Lots and lots of other things, because they're all crazy. Here's one I want to share with you. It comes out of Chicago. This is a lot of fun, actually. The Chicago GOP, the Chicago Republican Party. That's right, it exists. The Chicago GOP has a Twitter account, and they tweeted today, talking to me, because I was talking about on the radio here about Joe Biden at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And the Chicago GOP tweeted, "You should have asked him where he purchased his medals, and we love Chris Plant Show. He loves Chicago. Did you know he's coming to Northern Illinois soon?" This is very nice and thoughtful of the Chicago GOP to use their Twitter account to promote my upcoming event. They posted my picture of me with General Thoroughly Modern Milley, who is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I ran into him at the White House dinner. And I said, "Hey, General, let's do a happy snap over here." And we exchanged a few pleasantries. I say, "Yeah, I was at the Pentagon for 10 years. Back it was more of a military back then." And here he is. Here I am. I'm going to show it to Michael Piercy with Thoroughly Modern Milley, who wants an all-transgender military, Spanish-speaking transgender military. And we tweeted out, I had the misfortune of running into Thoroughly Modern Milley last night. That was our tweet. And Chicago GOP retweeted it. "You should have asked him where he purchased his medals. And we love Chris Plant Show. He loves Chicago. Did you know he's coming to Northern Illinois soon?" And it's true, June 8th, an event with WLS in the greater Chicagoland metropolitan area. Be there. Check out the WLS website for. You have to buy tickets. It's not an open thing, but check the WLS website. Now let me get to this. Mike Pence. Here's the College Fix. The College Fix. The College Fix is great. It's a great website. They do great stuff about what's going on campuses, the lunacy of the left, and everything. Saturday, their headline: Mike Pence appearance at University of North Carolina causes some to leave campus, quote, scared for their safety. Scared for their safety. What a bunch of beep. And can you believe there are a bunch of beep, beep, a bunch of beep, beep. All the words that I'm thinking cannot be used here. Former Vice President Mike Pence appeared at the University of North Carolina this past week, which, according to the student newspaper, resulted in some students leaving campus out of fear for their safety. Well, you think lefties are going to self-immolate or suicide bombs packed with pellets? What do you think? Democrat mobs are going to show up and loot and plunder and burn the place? Feared for their fear. I got to tell you, if we had to do World War II over now with this generation, we'd all be talking German and Japanese, I'll tell you that much. And a bunch of spineless, transgender, overweight, unathletic, unserious, unintelligent, cowardly. Because there, we have some good kids joining the military here and there, and there are some good kids. But the Democrats are doing what they can to do away with that. In school, everything's about being non-binary and exploring someone else's sexuality. All right? So they left the campus. The Daily Tar Heel reports that Pence spoke April 26th on a range of issues at Saving America from the Woke Left event, sponsored by the Young Americas Foundation and the Campus College Republicans, University of North Carolina Young Democrats, and members of 15 other radical extremist gender non-binary student groups joined for a pre-Pence speech protest, right? Dubbed the Saving America with Woke Left. And freshman Sawyer Hussein, I wonder if he is related to Saddam Hussein. It sounds kind of like Saddam Hussein, who's from Pence's home state of Indiana, said, "It can be tough to see no outcry in response to some of Pence's statements." And they were overjoyed at the protest, and they had to leave. They had to leave the campus for their own safety because they felt unsafe because a nice middle-aged man from Indiana showed up on their campus. And they had a bunch of signs made up. Love is love. Fair elections. No human is illegal. Joe Scarborough just said that humans are illegal. And so they fled the campus out of fear because Mike Pence was coming to speak. Honestly.
Was I expecting this kind of backlash? Heavens, no.
Sounds terrible, doesn't he? Just scary. Yeah, what a frightening man. Must have been very scary for you mental incompetence. Extraordinary. Your Democrat Party. There they are. Now, on the this is a great story too. Megyn Kelly, Megyn Kelly, formerly of the Fox News Channel. Now she has a podcast. I understand she's doing very well, very popular. And I used to go on the Megyn Kelly show every week at least for quite some time when she was on Fox News. I always liked Megyn Kelly. I've met her in person a number of times. Always liked her very much, a very pleasant person. And I like her. Now, she appeared in posted a picture on Al Gore's Amazing Internet on the Twitter. She's wearing a hat, and you're not allowed to wear hats. Says, "Make women women again." It's a red baseball cap, looks like a "Make America Great Again" hat, right? And instead it says, "Make women women again." And it comes from a website she's promoting, and the hat is from Adult Human Female. Adult Human Female is the definition of what is a woman. We have a Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who can't answer that question, and most Democrats apparently cannot answer that question either. But amazingly, Posey Parker, the Posey Parker, that's the Posey Parker? Isn't she an actress? That's Parker Posey. That's a different person altogether. Yeah, adult female human is the definition of woman, and Democrats can't figure that out. Man, I'm telling you. But they have good stuff, including this great hat. Make women, it's Make Women Female Again. Make women female again. All the best women are men these days, according to the Democrats. But they have fun stuff for, you get a kind of a, what do you call it? Like a sports bra kind of thing. Just says woman across and because who was it? Nike used that transgender guy, the Bud Light guy, to do a sports bra. And who was it? Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, that came out and objected to that. I think that's right. Yeah, and he was at the White House Correspondents'. Let's just say Caitlyn Jenner was at the White House Correspondents' Center, and I physically bumped into Caitlyn Jenner, and I mentioned it very briefly was traveling with. He was in the crowd with with Riley Gaines, the swimmer. And I stood up from my chair. The room was so packed that when you went to slide your chair out, you bumped into somebody else's chair. You had to move your chair back in under the table so you could start walking. And when you walked a couple of feet, you had to ask someone to move their chair because all the tables were packed so closely together, the chairs so packed in there that you couldn't move. But I stood up and I bumped into this tall person, and I turned around and said, "Looks like we got a little gridlock here." And he said, "Yeah, Riley Gaines is causing the gridlock." And I looked over to my left there, and there was Riley Gaines talking to one of the people from the Newsmax table. And then I looked back at this tall person, and I said, "Oh, this is Caitlyn Jenner standing there at the thing." But Caitlyn Jenner is on the right side of a lot of these issues, unlike your mainstream Democrat, who are, generally speaking, almost universally on the wrong side of these issues. Yeah. So, So we got that going for us. All kinds of crazy stuff. You see the big tornado in Virginia Beach. It was like it was a watery tornado coming off the water too, and it was a heck of a thing. This tornado, a watery tornado in Virginia Beach, and came across the street. Our friend Randy Lefevre, who runs the Chris Plant store on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, his wife's mother lives there in Virginia Beach. They go down to Virginia Beach all the time. And her roof was torn off. The roof of her house was torn off by this big, nasty tornado. And that's a bad thing. And she was recently widowed, actually, and now had her roof torn off. Just crazy. Crazy, man, crazy. And with that, let's get to the global warming thing. Yeah, Virginia Beach, and it was terrible. Anne is just wonderful, Toby's mother. And the roof was torn off of her house in Virginia Beach by this tornado, and it's awful, an awful thing. The weather. Do you know there's this crazy reality that we in the United States, we get about 1,200 tornadoes in an average year. Did you know this? We get about 1,200 tornadoes in an average year. The whole rest of the world, the entire rest of the world combined, gets about 300 tornadoes in an average year. We, the United States, we get about 4 times as many tornadoes as the rest of the world combined. Isn't that wild? Now, with that said, let's go to soundbite number 20. Let's go to, this is a professor of all-around smart guy, Ian Plimer, who's talking about the history of climate change and temperature changes on the planet Earth, something to share with your friends. It turns out it's a bit of a trick question. Is the climate changing? Is it getting warmer? Is it getting cooler? Well, it depends on what sort of timeline you're using.
We have been cooling down for the last 4,000 years. So if people say, "Oh, the planet's warming," well, it's all about when you start the measurements. If we look at the last 38 years, there has been no change in temperature. If we look in the last 150 years, we've had 3 warming periods and 3 cooling periods with a total warmth of about 0.6 degrees Celsius. Now, I wonder why it warms. I mean, 1850, what happened then? Oh, yes, that was the end of the Little Ice Age. Do you think it's going to warm or cool after a Little Ice Age? Of course it's going to warm. So if you start taking measurements from 1850 in the Industrial Revolution, we have been warming. If you take measurements from the medieval warming, we've been cooling. We've cooled about 5 degrees since then. If you take measurements from the Roman warming, we've cooled about 5 degrees. So as soon as someone tells you, "Oh, it's warming," the reply you give is, "Since when?"
That's pretty good stuff. I've got to say, I like that summary. Perhaps we could share that as well. That's a good one to share with your warmista friends. We'll ask Kevin Tober to put that out on the Twitter and the Facebook, because it's a trick question, like so many things. And the left, as we know, they're not science people, right? X chromosomes, XY chromosomes, very confusing, male, female. Climate's warming, climate's cooling. There's a lot they don't understand. It's extraordinary. And now this professor, Ian Plimer, summing it up in a very interesting way to be shared with your, because the earth is on fire and we're all going to die soon crowd, the Democrat Party. It's how Democrats are raising their children, part of a death cult. Crazy. And no person is illegal. Hey, Hunter Biden in court today, having to face the music on his denial of paternity money to his bastard child with the Washington stripper. We all know that the left is not good at being mocked. They're great at mocking other people, but they hate being mocked themselves. A white councilman in Indiana sparks outrage after proclaiming himself to be a, quote, lesbian woman of color who is, quote, living as my true self. But angry trans locals call for him to resign. White Indiana, Delaware County, Indiana councilman. And the local news channel, this is pretty hilarious stuff. News 8 in Indiana told the story, and they don't know exactly how to respond to it because, the left might burn their building down. And is he joking or is he really identifying now as an Indian American woman who is a lesbian? So now he's a woman of color. Here's the local news coverage.
A councilman is coming out as transgender and a woman of color. Delaware County Councilman Ryan Webb announced that he now identifies as an Indian American woman. Since that announcement, he's received some support, but a lot of backlash, many calling him childish, despicable, even calling for things like execution. In a statement Webb gave to ITMate, he says, quote, "It is unfortunate that I cannot simply be given the same space and respect to explore my identity that so many of those targeting me demand for themselves. It's possible I may change my mind down the road. The process of identity exploration is complex, and oftentimes at the end of our personal journey, we end right back where we started." Webb goes on to tell ITMate this is just his true, authentic self.
That's right. And he said, and he barked back at me, so wait a minute, you've just been telling us for the last several years that anyone can identify as anything that they wish to identify. And now I'm identifying as a woman of color. And now that I'm a woman, I'm a lesbian, and I'm an Indian American. And now you tell me I can't do that and I should be executed, the usual left-wing thing. And eventually they get around to that, too.